Thanks for checking out another episode of Bad Advice, the show where unqualified people give unsolicited advice. This week I'm joined by two of my favorite people in the world, Carina Magyar and Maggie Maye. It's a funny one, man. There's church drama and pornography punishments. Just definitely check it out. Thanks for checking out another episode of Bad Advice, the show where unqualified people give unsolicited advice. We are coming in. I'm in Austin, Texas. If you may have heard, we've been frozen. Well, we were frozen for about a week, and now it's 80 degrees because climate change doesn't exist. But thank you for sticking with us. We got a podcast out last week, even though it was frozen. We'll keep them going as best as we can. I am joined today by two, and I've said it before, but maybe I mean it for real this time, of my favorite people in the world. First up, host of the Weird Brunch podcast, or co-host as it were, Carina Magyar. How's it going, Carina?
Oh my God. I'm so glad to talk to a human being.
Human adults that
Human
are like
adults.
Like friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you been, we haven't spoken much outside of the internet. How, have you been quarantining hard? What's your day to day?
Real hard. I mean, I got my lovely girlfriend with me, and she counts for sure as a human being to talk to. But other than that, it is two small children, and I just got a puppy who's a terrible conversationalist.
I have seen the puppy. What's the puppy's name?
Here we go. Puppy's name is Chestnut.
Oh, Chestnut. Oh, and what a perfect
right
name for that buddy.
Yeah.
And do we know, is that like a retriever? What are we working with?
We got an Irish setter here.
There we go.
And we drove all the way to Missouri to pick her up. So
I was trying to figure out why I was seeing you posted on the internet in the middle of fucking nowhere. Word. Was it is it like a breed, like a specific? Did you get that? What's the story?
It's, okay, I'm going to catch all sorts of hell for this, but it's purebred. And we went to a breeder in Missouri who is AKC registered. That was the big thing is we wanted an Irish setter, and we couldn't find anybody closer than Missouri who did it in the non-creepy bad way. So we drove up there. We just didn't realize when we scheduled it that it would be happening during the only blizzard in Texas history. So we had to drive back through that shit, and that was terrifying. And just
let me bring in our other guest, because I'm sure she'll have stuff to say. You know her, you love her. Returning guest Maggie Maye is here. What's going on, girl?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Did you see Carina's dog?
It was so cute.
I know. God damn it. I've been seeing pictures on Facebook, and just it's the most I love a puppy. Obviously, they're adorable, but Carina, is it a wild pain in the ass?
Oh my God. I am so bitten right now. All my hands are mangled. Yeah.
And they have the sharpest fucking razor teeth when they're babies. Lester nipped on my nose and just fucking Chinatowned me, just slit my fucking nostril open. It was wild. Yeah. Maggie, how's things with you? How's LA treating you?
Not bad. Things aren't bad. I have to say, I didn't get to her quick enough, but when Carina showed her dog, I wanted to go grab Olive to go see another dog.
I would grab Lester, but he would bark like an asshole and fuck up this recording, so he's gonna stay chilling while he's chilling. I will say this: Lester was very this was his first snowstorm. At least real snowstorm. We had that other snow a couple weeks back that was an inch or whatever, but sunk in mad snow for him, and he fucking handled it better than I did. He handled it like a goddamn champ. So good for my dog. Guys, I think maybe we just jump into these letters because I have a bunch this week and they are wild. Hear me? Okay. I love chatting with y'all, but these are too good to wait, and I want to hear your opinions on them. First off, Carina, Dear Abby, right?
Sure.
Okay. I've had other people on this podcast, and they did not, or just unfamiliar with the concept. And I was we're around the same age. It's not even that you're just a baby. But all right, good. So we're all on the same page. Yeah, let's jump right in with letter number 1. Dear Abby, I am 20-something years old, and my father still hits my behind sometimes. I feel it is inappropriate, but the last time I complained about it several years ago, it didn't go over well. It also didn't stop his behavior. What else can I do? right now, all I can do is try not to place myself in a position where my behind is exposed. I no longer walk in front of him or wear leggings, and I wear oversized jackets to cover it. I'm a modest dresser. I am not provocative. Did people back in the day normally playfully hit their adult daughters' behinds? Signed, inappropriate in Idaho.
One very important question.
Yeah.
Is her dad her softball coach?
Yeah. If he also coached your field hockey team, then maybe this is a situationally appropriate Pat.
Did you just complete a good play in front of your dad?
Exactly. Are you an all-star? Because sometimes.
I'm going to go ahead and say guess she is not. I also am going to guess a couple of things here. We are dealing with a white family. Absolutely. I am saying that by the liberal use of the word behind.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the liberal use of the word Idaho.
No, I'm basing that on behind. That is for sure a churchy white way of saying butt or ass. Mm-hmm. I'm also is her father just a wild creep? Like, is he an inappropriate touching? It's not a pedophile anymore because she's an adult, but like, you know what I'm saying? Or these sexually inappropriate behind pats? Or to answer the question that she asked at the end, is this something that's done in like? Is that, do you know what I'm saying? Do people in your family express themselves by hitting each other on the ass? Because that is not something that happens in my family.
See, I'm not too familiar with white culture, and so I don't know how you guys really doing stuff. So,
Carina, we're gonna put this over to you.
Well, okay, I'm not as your token guest here. I'm not. Familiar with I'm not a father, and also my daughter is much younger, so it's not really the same scenario, but I would say that I hit her ass about never. I mean, just it's not a part of the body I need to direct her with. I usually use her head. But sure. Here's the other thing. If you have to ask, is this just a cultural thing? Are you allowed out of the house? You know what I mean? Like, sure. Are you not looking around and participating in society at large? You should just know these things.
This could also be a real room situation that we're dealing with. Maybe this is just someone who is literally not allowed outside of the house.
This letter was written by Kimmy Schmidt, basically.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Maggie, what?
I said, if they're not allowed out of the house, that explains everything.
It does. It explains why you're like sending weird pen pal letters to Dear Abby as a 20-something-year-old. So much of this is so wild to me. I would but here's what freaks me out beyond just the occasional pat on the ass, which is weird. It is clearly happening so excessively that this woman feels the need to like wear oversized jackets and not walk in front of her father. That is, you need to move. I'm assuming she still lives there, right? Because this has got to be something where like there's a proximity situation, right?
Where's your mama?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Mama might be also locked up.
I feel.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No.
If you can't talk to your dad about this, and you can't talk to your mom about this, and you can't leave the house, you've probably got larger issues going on in your life than just the pats on the butt. There sounds like there's a whole control situation going on that might need to be examined. That's my real answer. But
understandably, Also, I feel so bad for this woman who's like blaming herself. I'm not provocative. You should be able to be provocative in front of your father without provoking him. That should be a thing where you are not, he's like, you know what I'm saying? That shouldn't be a thing you have to concern you. You should be able to rock leggings and a fat ass around your dad and not have to worry about his reaction.
See, Al Bundy never smacked Kelly Bundy on the ass, and she was always killing it.
That's true. To be fair, though, he barely smacked Peg Bundy on the ass, and she had ass for days. He was just sort of he had his own issues going on in that house.
He would have smacked any of the bigums on the ass. That's just the truth. He just didn't like Peg.
Do you think they could do? It's so wild when you think about TV between like then and now. Like that was just a sitcom that was just on that featured strippers from bigums. It was like they just. That's not a thing that can be on TV. Like a sitcom can't do that now. Meanwhile, Game of Thrones could just have people fucking their family members. It don't matter. You can get wild. But like a sitcom feels like it has to be like a Modern Family now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can do weird fucking stuff, but it's got to be artistic, and there's got to be a work behind it.
Yeah, there's got to be a dragon or like a political statement.
Yeah, you can only have strippers if you have good cinematography. That is definitely how we live now in an HD world.
Although, did you guys see Hustlers?
No.
The J-Lo movie? Oh, it fucking rules, by the way.
Oh, wait,
yeah, did I say it wrong?
Dallas Buyers Club. I saw Hustlers.
Oh, no, I haven't. What did you say? Dallas Buyers Club? That's
My
not.
mind immediately went to Dallas Buyers Club.
That is a very different movie. I'm not sure if you know what that movie's about, but they're not buying pussy in that movie.
I was right about to say you can have strippers, but one of them better be battling AIDS. And I was like, then the moment passed, and then you said Hustlers, and I was like, that's the point I was going to make.
Speaking of you can have strippers, but it's got to be artistic. Hustlers fucking ruled if you haven't seen it. I stand by that. I know people, there are some people that say otherwise. I think it fucking rules. Also, I think drugging dudes at strip clubs and running up their credit card rules, so I don't know what to tell you. What do we tell this woman? So real advice for this lady, if she can't leave her house, which appears to be the situation, you have to just talk to your dad, or do you do like a booby trap situation? Do you put like thumbtacks or something down there? There has to be some way. He's not responding to communication. She said she brought it up several years ago and it didn't go well. Does she have to like do some sort of negative reaction training, like a shot collar?
Yeah, that's where I would go. I would say I've got 3 words for her. Retaliatory ball tap. Just every single time he's within range, just let your fingers dangle low and just thwap. It's really effective.
That is very funny. Also, retaliatory ball slap was my band name in high school. That being said, you have the fucking hand movement for a ball flap. It is a wrist flick. That's exactly it.
You got to let the fingers dangle and then flip the wrist. Yeah, that's how you get maximum sting.
Oh man, I think you're right. I think you just have to train it every time you have to do negative reinforcement sometimes, like with a dog or whatever. You sometimes treats work, but sometimes you have to rub their nose in it. And I don't want to necessarily rub his nose in it. That's maybe not the right choice of words, but yeah, I think maybe he needs a smack in the nuts or something. Yeah. Also, maybe he needs prison.
That's honestly, he is a creep. I knew it wasn't a friendly kind of thing when she's like, I don't wear leggings. And it's like, you don't smack an ass in leggings to get seasick and watch the waves. You know, like there's no other reason. So he's a creep first and foremost. And I love Carina's idea because I was gonna say you smack his ass back, but then that might send the wrong idea.
He might like that. Yeah. Yeah, no, it needs pain. It needs the actual physical. Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably what we do. Let's try another letter real quick. Do we want to do? Okay. We'll come back to that one. Let's try. Oh, I like this one. Dear Abby, my wife of 9 years has been faking a disability for 7 of them. Yes, she was injured. However, I and many other people are not convinced she's in chronic pain. She doesn't take her medication and she functions like she did before her injury. This has had a detrimental effect on my life as well as our son's because we have to live with her lies. When confronted, she denies it, and so does her family. Signed, Stuck in the Lie. Maggie, your face says it all.
Just where that letter let off when he's like, she lies, and so does her family.
Yeah,
that's jump extra layer.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now I have a couple of questions. I would like to know what's the, like, when she says she's faking a disability, does she walk with a limp unnecessarily, or does she have an Oxycontin addiction? Like, there's different levels of faking a disability.
See, I'm imagining a wheelchair with a cane.
With both? Does she have two canes, and that's how she's cross country wheelchairing? She pushes like that,
and an eye patch.
So she's faking mad disability. She's got the neck brace, like when a wrestler fakes they've been injured, like Bobby the Brain Heenan got beat up, and now he's rocking a fake neck brace.
Oh man.
Carina, have you ever been with somebody who you believe to be faking, not been with necessarily in a relationship, but been around somebody who you believe to be faking an injury?
I went on a couple of dates with a young lady who had fibromyalgia, which is just that chronic pain that nobody can diagnose or confirm, or, and I don't know, jury's out on whether it's real or not. I'm not going to say anything about that because that's medical shit and I'm not a doctor, but
sure.
It's a really hard one because you got to take their word for it. Right. And it's like, there's no outward stuff. There's no inward stuff. There's no blood test. But the people who say they've got it, and I know several, I've known several people, they're dead serious. So, I mean, whether or not they're feeling the pain that we think of as pain, or whether they're feeling some pain up here, it's something that's distracting them. Now, should that count as a good reason to get a disability check? If it is, sign me up.
That's where I wonder.
Yeah.
So here's what I wonder. And clearly it's affecting them past, like, if she was just like every once in a while going, ow, but still like, contributing to the household. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's like, she goes to work every day, but every once in a while she's like, oh, my hip or whatever. I don't know that you write a letter to the editor about that. You know what I'm saying? I think this has to be where she's like, I can't go to work. I can't. Like, I feel like there's more to this. It's not just a faking an injury.
Yeah,
he's faking an injury to the, like, other people have to pick up the slack.
The way her man wrote that letter, it sounds like her chronic pain must exhibit itself most during penetrative sex. You know what I mean? Like, there's something that is making his life worse.
Also, I do want to go back to the numbers for a second. My wife of 9 years has been faking a disability for 7 of them. Mm-hmm. So you have known her. She's been doing this for most of the time you've known her. That almost, to me, speaks as it's a reaction to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels to me like this came up specifically to keep you at bay.
This is a whole new definition of 7-year itch.
She doesn't take her medication. Okay, so now that's interesting. She doesn't take her medication. So we're not necessarily talking about a pill addict, right? Which is what I was kind of thinking. It was like, that's the disability. She's faking her back hurt so she can get Oxycontin. I don't think it's that. She's not taking her medication. And she functions like she did before her injury. So what the fuck is the problem then? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if she's not hooked on pills and she functions like she did before injury, so she's doing her life hasn't changed, why are you writing this letter?
I can only imagine it's just because she's always constantly saying, don't touch me. And he's just invented this whole, she has pain story to cover up for why in public she yells, don't touch me at restaurants. She has chronic pain.
Yeah, I think that might, I was laughing when you said it, but I think you might be right. Because I can't think of another situation. Like, how else this has had a detrimental effect on my life as well as our sons, because we have to live with her lies. I mean, I guess I could see that. Like, if you know, or at least believe in your heart that the person you're living with is just lying to you to your face about something like this, at some point you're just gonna be like, you're just gonna snap, right? I can kind of see the idea of like, stop fucking lying. Like, that thing is gonna come out of you eventually. So maybe that's it? Because otherwise, I don't see what this dude's problem is.
I bet you this dude has fibromyalgia and she is stealing his thunder.
Ooh.
Or maybe he had a muscle that maybe he had some deep tissue that he wanted to start talking about. And now this chick with her,
she saw it coming, headed him off at the pain pass, and now he's got a I wouldn't doubt it. This does seem like a dude who wants attention. That's not, maybe that's just it. I feel like maybe he's just not getting the attention he wants. Also, it could be that these are just fucking drama addicts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just looking for something, like he's looking for something to complain about. She's faking a thing because like they get in a big fight and then they go have good sex. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not a lack of sex. Maybe this is heightening the weird kink they found for themselves.
They do have sons, plural. So at some point, she's taking the pain, you know?
I don't know that I know. He said but I don't know.
Was the accident pregnancy? Is that what she's referring to as the accident?
That could be it. She was Yes, she was injured. She might have had a tear. Okay. Also, that I would like see. I was initially like kind of sympathetic. When you read these letters the first time, there's sort of a not an instinct to believe them, because that's not necessarily true. But I feel like I read them through the first time and I'm sort of put in the position of the writer of the letter, because that's whose voice I'm reading. So as I read the letter, I kind of respond in the way that I would, like I'm that person. It's just how my brain kind of works. So when I read it initially, I'm like, oh, this man is dealing with this lying woman. Now as I'm reading this letter, I feel bad for this woman. He admits she was injured. So what the fuck are you talking? This isn't even like a fibromyalgia. And to our listeners with all my fibros out there, I'm not trying to discredit what you're going through. I don't super know what those words mean, so please don't take this as an insult. But what I mean to say is he just admits that she was injured. So you know something happened. You know what I mean? Like, why are you assuming she's faking it? This guy's a real dickhead.
He's adding insult to injury.
Literally. Yeah, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
I've come around.
I like the idea of this being their just dramatic thing, and him, while they're having a fight, being like, I'm writing Dear Abby, and then actually the letter, and then they're like, the moment's already passed, we fucked already.
Yeah.
I would like to posit that everybody whose spouse is sitting down and furiously writing a letter to Dear Abby is in pain. I think that there comes that is a pain.
Very much so. That is an internal, heartfelt pain.
Yes.
That is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Will not show up on an x-ray.
No, broken hearts look whole. But let me tell you, if your spouse is reaching out to Dear Abby, crack. That's Valentine's Day is over.
Yeah. I think the only thing we can tell this dude is to I'm going to guess, so she's got medication that she apparently doesn't take. So she goes to doctors. Doctors have diagnosed her with a thing on some level because they've given her medication. So just believe your wife and stop being a dickhead, I think is my advice to this guy.
I think I'm going to give him the same advice that guys always get about when pain is in their lives. Walk it off.
Yeah, absolutely. No, go ahead, Maggie.
If she was in an accident and she was given medication, it's not antibiotics, they're painkillers.
Right.
So go take your wife's painkillers or sell them to school kids and shut up.
Yeah. Send them to school with your sons. Make some money. You got to be an entrepreneur in this pandemic.
Yeah. Put them in a blow dart and stop the neighbor's dog from barking.
Oh boy. Oh, I like this one because I think it is I just like weird suburban drama, and it's a theme going so far. So let's take on this next letter. Dear Abby, I will soon be retiring from a lay position in my church. As a former member of the choir, I am being urged to return to it, which appeals to me. My problem is a member who has caused trouble in the past for me with lies and criticism. She is a very negative bully. In the past, she poisoned my ability to worship, and I want as little to do with her as possible. I'm afraid if I rejoin the choir, the situation will continue. I don't want to upset the other choir members who are good, supportive friends, but I no longer want to have to put up with her. She's very hard to ignore. Any suggestions? Signed, singing a new tune in Canada. Are either of y'all church folk? Or were you church folk? Did you grow up church folk?
I grew up church choir folk.
Oh, okay. And Maggie, I feel like I know this about you, Maggie. You were definitely grew up in the church, right? You gotta talk. You can't nod at me. We're on a podcast. I don't mean to be shitty, Maggie, but you gotta speak.
I like how I just kept nodding harder, like that was
you didn't deep nod, like I wasn't getting it. I can see you, but they can't. So Maggie, you grew up in the church, all right? I think I know about you. Yeah. Is this something I did not grow up in the church. I've been in a church outside of a wedding or a funeral maybe 5 times in my life. Is this something that is common amongst the church folk, the drama and the infighting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is very, there's a good top kept on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like watching The Office. You have to kind of watch it from the beginning to know what every look kind of means, and every that glance was 1987 pop look, and that glance was the shower of 03. Like, yeah,
I'm gonna guess, Carina, you grew up in a slightly different church than Maggie. Just a guess. Was it the same for you in the church you grew up in?
Ain't no drama like church drama. I miss it sometimes. And then you throw on top of that the layer of choir drama that goes on. Okay. Oh, this is some, I was about to start licking my fingers when you were reading this email. This is some juicy shit. So what's her name? Agnes? Beth?
I can only assume. I don't know. Her name is singing singing a new tune in Canada. She not give a name. I did grow up around like I did not grow up, but like high school, I was around choir kids. I wasn't in choir, but like I was friends with those kids, and they were like they were like the fuckingest kids, and they were all drama. Mm-hmm. Like they were the best fun to be around. But so I could see the idea of like church drama and then also choir drama. What do you? Can I also? I need to ask one other question. What is a lay person?
It's somebody who's not, it's not clergy. So it's somebody who's not officially ordained to be like a holy person, but you like help out at church.
You're like in the staff or something.
Yeah,
so like,
exactly.
You're like just run the office or whatever.
Yeah. Your regular person is allowed to do churchy things.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So she's coming from, so that I think adds another layer of drama that I am a little bit more familiar with, which is like workplace middle management drama, right? Because that's essentially, if you get the God out of it, which is what she's done by being a layperson, she's just kind of this is kind of staff drama, right? So I'm a little more familiar with the inner office politics. So there's a lot of layers going on to this lady. What do we believe her that this other woman is a bully?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I bet she's a bully. I bet she's a mezzo soprano. I bet she has cats.
This sounds like a lot of specifics that you're bringing up.
Oh yeah. Carina? Oh yeah. I bet they fight over solos. I bet she sings sharp, but she doesn't know it. I know this lady very well. And I think here's the thing. If you don't want drama in your life, then you cannot have church choir in your life. That is the way it is. That is the choice that you make. So if you're like, hey, I gotta be a no drama mama, then go sing at home, or seek a position where you get to be the one lady who sings. Because sometimes you can do some singing at church where you're not in the choir. Just be prepared that the minute you do that, you become the alpha queen bully who everybody else hates. So there's no winning here. You either just shut up and swallow it and find an ally in the alto section, or you stay home.
That's the thing. Church choir is kind of an acceptable area where you kind of agree to get your feelings hurt at church, And I've gone to several different churches, and I've heard from like people who are in choir in a bunch of different churches. The choir director truly does not give a fuck. The choir director is the one person in church who really doesn't care and who will be like,
yeah,
out of here. Like they don't care. Like they'll point you out.
Mm-hmm. The most experience I have with church choir is there was a Netflix reality show during the pandemic that's come and gone, but we watched all of it in a minute about like this, like it's like the world's best church choir in Atlanta or something, and Pharrell shows up. It's like but it's serious fucking business. And I definitely got that vibe that they for sure didn't give a fuck about your feelings, but it felt more like American Idol than church. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Is it just the reality? Is it the way, you know how there are certain people when we do comedy that aren't there, they're there to like, there's levels of comedy, right? There's people that are trying to do comedy as like they want to make it their career. There are like bowling team comics. This is my social hour. This is where I'm good, but like this is how I like make friends. This is my community, which is a perfectly fucking reasonable, acceptable reason to do comedy. I'm not shitting on anybody. Is church choir that too, where there is people that I am here to sing my ass off, and then there's other people that are I am here to sort of just like have friends and make and have a social life, and those people beef?
No, thank you for this metaphor. This is perfect. Okay, stand-up comics. Those are your ministers, your lectors, your deacons, your preachers.
Okay. They want church the choir. Is improv,
improv, baby. It's improv, and it's going to be drama all day long. Yeah.
That makes sense because the church, I get that metaphor because the preacher, you want singular, it's on me. Yep. It's not about anybody else.
Yep.
It's on me. Yeah.
And you get that kind of beef where like, oh, I can't believe that, the preacher showed me up with their homily. But like in the choir, it's all improv level drama where it's like, hey, we were doing that song and you were stepping out of the moment and you were singing sharp and you need to get back in the group think or I'm going to smack you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh,
there's also that level of like, these are people who don't go to karaoke, so church choir is their opportunity to perform.
Right.
That's when they can go and they can sing. And some of these people have done choir all the way up from when they were kids. Some of them have a music degree or something that they're not utilizing. And so when they get there, it's like, no, I need to assert my dominance in here immediately. And I need to immediately let people know that I know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And I might not sing that well, but I know what I'm talking about.
I need to make a joyful noise now.
Yes.
Oh, I've also seen that movie. Is that the Whitney Houston movie or the Dolly Parton movie? I'm mixing up. Which one's Joyful Noise?
I don't know. That's just it's a song.
You guys don't know? I get you, but it's also, there's a movie. I'm going to find out.
Probably
I know
Dolly, because Whitney was preacher's wife.
Yeah. So it's definitely
sounds
Dolly
like Dolly.
Parton. No, it's Dolly Parton, but also Queen Latifah. I know what I'm fucking talking about. Do you have any advice? I'm in a weird position where I could give some advice to this lady, which is like, I want to come back before we get to advice. Let me come back to one thing because I do think this is a relevant question. She says that this person has caused a lot problems for me with lies and criticism. Do we believe the author of this letter? And by that, I mean lies and criticism together when that's your complaint.
Yes.
Sounds like someone who can't take criticism.
This was the lie and the criticism in front of everybody. She said, you were off. Which she also believes is a lie because she don't believe she was off.
Exactly. That's my question. So I don't know. We get back to, it's the same situation with the guy whose wife's lying about the disability. I don't know. I think we're dealing with an unreliable narrator because I don't know that I can trust that this other woman in choir is that much of a bully and a liar and a whatever. Or maybe she's just right about things that the right author of this letter isn't happy about.
I think both things can be true. I think the other lady is probably a bully. And I think she's also taking this stuff too hard. And it's like, that's why my advice is definitely, if you don't want the drama, don't join the church choir. There's no way around it because every single person in that church choir, there's always one saint and then a whole bunch of sinners, like everybody else is in there for the glory and the control.
Yeah. Like you can tell she is absolutely a bully, but Agnes, you were off.
Yeah. So maybe you were just shitty about the way you brought the criticism to her. Maybe that's the situation. Okay. I can buy that. You don't have to be a dick about it, but like also you do need to tell her you're fucking up the song. I get that.
She probably did it biblically too. Like, yo, you sound like Lot's wife leaving. Ooh,
that note turned me to a pillar of salt. I know like 3 church references. That's what I had.
Oh man.
All right, let's jump into another letter. I've got a couple more. Dear Abby, this is also religion based. There's a little bit of a connection here. Dear Abby, I am a woman in my 30s with a good head on my shoulders, but I have a dilemma. I recently became Wiccan, and I'm hiding my new religion from my fiance. Yep. I knew I'd get a laugh. I was raised Protestant, but have drifted away from Christianity. My fiance was raised Catholic, but no longer practices. He's not actively involved in any religion, but I'm worried about how he will react to learning that I'm now a witch, which is just a broad term for anyone who follows the Wiccan spiritual path. I don't want him to think I've lost my mind, but I also can't keep hiding my beliefs from him. Secrets are never a positive thing in a relationship, but I'm worried about how this news will be received. Please help. Signed, West Virginia Wiccan. Carina, do you have...
I like in the
Maggie,
beginning of the letter when she says, now I've got a good head on my shoulders.
Yeah.
I was to say, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but trust
me. That is exactly right.
That's what made me laugh. It was beautiful. That was a setup punchline such as I have not heard in a year.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. The idea also, look, depending on what your relationship is, and it does say that it's her fiance she's concerned about, so this is a serious relationship. You're talking about getting married, so yes, you probably should discuss matters of faith with your betrothed. However, and I'm sorry to any witches that might be listening that I'm about to offend with this comment, if your religion is cuckoo banana silly stuff, which is all of them, and I don't mean that shittily. To me, it's all of them. That's every religion. However, some of them you might have to, like, your partner might have to do some shit. And here's what I mean to say. If your religion and you can practice it without involving your partner, you can just keep it to yourself. I don't think you need to tell your husband it's a witch. Just burn sage. Your husband will be like, oh, she saw that on TikTok. And you can just keep it pushing, right? Like, if he's got to go to church, like, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to join a religion that now requires a commitment from your husband, you got to bring that shit up.
Yeah.
But if it just means that you have to go to the rock store on Sundays, just fucking, you don't have to tell him how deeply this is affecting. Am I crazy? Is that a shitty take?
I think that's right. And I mean, I actually, all respect for Wiccans. I think they're fine. But I will say this is just some truth. There's no such thing as a Wiccan who's not dead on obvious about it. It's just, you're not going to be able to hide it from him. If you are hiding your Wiccanness from it, let me tell you how you're doing your Wiccan. You're doing it wrong. Okay, because like when you start buying the stones and doing the hexes and wearing the clothes and going to the things, everybody gonna know it's not a secret religion. It's the CrossFit of religions. You got to talk about it.
Yeah. It's the flipping over a big tire of religion.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I knew you were Wiccan when you got dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Yep. That you were fooling with that stick and poke tattoo right here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you became the third person in West Virginia with dreadlocks. Yeah.
I thought you might have just been refinding your love for fuck, I had a band and I can't remember the name of now. I was gonna say Stevie Nicks' band. There we go. I lost it. It's fine. It's not worth the stretch. But my point is also this. Obviously, I was being a bit of a dick with my previous statement. I don't think Wiccan is any more cuckoo bananas than as a non-religious person, they all seem silly to me. However, I understand that they're important to people and they get you through your life. And if you can find comfort in a religion and you don't hurt anybody and it doesn't make you vote for terrible people, do you, boo-boo? Like, I'm not a person who gives a shit. I'm not an angry atheist. I'm just an atheist. However, I guess you do. I know I said you shouldn't tell your husband, but like, you also shouldn't have to hide a thing you believe in from the person you're with. So yeah, tell him you're a Wiccan. And I guess if that bothers him that much, he's a dickhead. Like, I can't imagine. Look, I have a fiance, and if she came and told me that she was a Wiccan now, you both know my fiance. So it's very silly the thought that maybe she was going to be a Wiccan.
Oh, she does have really long hair.
That's true.
She
Look at it.
got long hair.
That's very true.
Yeah.
However, if she was to tell me she was a Wiccan, I would say cool. And that'd be the end. Oh, Maggie was waving at you. You didn't see her. There you go. She's waving back. I'd say cool, and I'd say, do I need to be a wicker? That can't be the right choice. But like, what you know? What I'm saying? Do I need that? Can't I shouldn't? I
No.
probably shouldn't hard R the Wicca thing. But
Wicks?
one who wicks again. I don't.
You would be a warlock, sir.
Maybe it's a question of kids. I would be a warlock. I didn't think about that. Which also, maybe I do that. That sounds dope.
It's pretty dope.
Like if you get to pick a name, warlock's pretty fucking badass.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I mean to say, like, I guess if you have kids, if you're planning to have kids, that might be a concern that you have to like raise your kids Wiccan.
Well, here's the key. Here's where it all comes down. Here's why it matters. Because like if it's just like, hey, I got a new religion that kind of manifests itself as a hobby, and that's why I'm using your credit card at the rock store. That's one thing. But she said fiance, which means there are nuptials pending, which means there is a religious ceremony coming, which means she wants Chad.
Wedding.
She wants Chad to come in his Birkenstocks with his little crown of thorns and perform some sort of a blessing with a goat. And he wants, a wedding. So like they're going to have that clash, and that's going to be the problem.
Is it unreasonable to ask your newly witched wife
For
your bewitched to have two ceremonies? Can our parents have a wedding where we dance the chicken dance and eat pasta from a fucking sterno heated dish? And then we have another one in the woods with your new friends. Like, can we just have two weddings?
If you're really a witch, you should never say no to more ceremonies.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have one in church and one in the cheap showiness of nature.
Yes. Did you say cheap showiness?
One in the church and one in the graveyard outside at the church. Yeah, that's real easy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny to me. All right, I got like two more, and then we can wrap this. Well, actually, I'm gonna do one that maybe we cut, maybe we don't. We'll see what you think. Dear Abby, my husband and I grew up in very conservative households. Since college, where we met, and moving to a large city, we've become more liberal. We have friends of other races with whom we are very close, but both of our families frequently post inflammatory and offensive, racially based comments on social media. Do we have a duty? Because of our beliefs and our friends to publicly object to their posts? We have previously discussed our differences with these family members, and we don't see eye to eye. Signed, Different Now in Texas. What do you guys think it means to be a good ally? Do you have to publicly denounce your fucking racist family on Facebook?
Look.
Ooh, Carina, you're rubbing your forehead in a way that says you might have some personal experience with this.
You definitely go first, Maggie. Please. Please.
All I gotta say is you can't call yourself an ally unless you are willing to go just East Texas or whatever your regional equivalent of Buck Wild is on your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't like this closet ally of, oh, well, we'll discuss it with them private. We'll this, we'll that. And it's like, no, like if you can yell this stuff to your Black friend in agreement and yell that you don't understand how all these other fucking idiots don't get it, you can yell that. You can keep that same energy with your grandma and your uncle Cletus or whoever.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to go, I'm going to get kind of serious. I don't know if this will be anything funny.
That's fine. No, that's fine.
But the part that really made me hold my head there was, and maybe you can read it back to me. It's something about like, do we do this in order to show our friends that we care, right? Something like that.
Do we have a duty because of our beliefs and our friends to publicly object to their posts?
Bitch, you don't have a duty because of your friends. before you say anything to your parents, you need a change of heart, because you do it because you believe it. You know what I mean? If you are against the racist shit, be against the racist shit. Doesn't matter if your friends are watching, doesn't mean if the algorithm shows it to them, doesn't matter if you've got any friends of other ethnicities at all. You either step up to them because you disagree with them, or you go ahead and, accept the fact that you've got your own problems. I hate performative allyship. I really do, because I think it's even more brittle and shallow. And those are the people who I don't trust, who I think go behind, when nobody's looking, we'll nod and nod and nod. You know what I mean? But I don't know how you like see a change of heart. You know what I mean? You got to just know for yourself.
I do also feel, and I agree with you 100%. I'm trying to work on empathy as a person. Like, that's a goal of mine, to sort of be more empathetic, because I have always been a very strident, like, these are my beliefs, if you don't believe them, fuck you kind of a person. But I'm also trying to, like, not understand racists because they can eat a dick. But what I mean to say is this: like, the privilege that I have is I've never had to do that with a family member. You know what I mean? Like, my grandfather, like, look, I for sure would have if my grandfather didn't die of Alzheimer's long before fucking Facebook was a thing. I'm not saying I didn't have racist family members. I've just never been put in a position where the internet has to see me stand up to my family members, because I don't have any of those. And also, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's a white problem. Does that make sense? I think white people have to deal with racist family members on Facebook more than black, brown, other. And obviously we all have a racist, but you know what I'm saying? That is a more white problem that I've never personally had to experience. So I don't know what it's like to necessarily have to stand up to family members, but I do know what it's like to stand up to just racist assholes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it's kind of fun because they're all dumb. So it's really fun to just, like, it takes 1 second to make them look stupid and then just block them real quick, because then they don't know, or mute them so they don't know they've been blocked, and they just yell into the ether. That's a good move.
It's hard when it's your family. It's different.
It's got to be, right?
It's so easy to be confrontational with racists you barely know.
Fucking some dickhead at work or somebody on Facebook. But when it's your aunt who you've known since you were a child, or your grandparent, that has to actually be a difficult thing to do. It
sucks. I mean, I got racist parents.
Yeah.
And in the summertime, when post quarantine, but during all the Black Lives Matter protests, they slipped onto my wall and said some shit. The only thing I posted publicly that anybody ever saw was, "Oh, dad." Comma dad, period, and let him go off. But we had a lot of talks behind the scenes, and the reason is because I didn't want to start a public call out with him for a couple of reasons. One, I think it just makes him more defensive, and it actually blows up into a fight that's not about racism at that point.
Right. You're fighting about your, like, parental dynamics and respect levels and shit, for sure.
Exactly. And two, I know that he is a parakeet who's been well trained. I know these aren't his thoughts and feelings. I know exactly where they're coming. They're coming from Tucker Carlson and Rush Limbaugh. May they both rot in hell. Oh wait, Tucker Carlson's not dead yet. I gotta get on that after this podcast. But so I had all of those conversations when I visited my dad about, like, this is what Black Lives Matter is about. This is why you sound racist when you oppose it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying that for the kudos and shit. I'm just saying, like,
you're describing your story.
Yeah. I knew that, like, coming hard on Facebook to impress, I don't know, fuck you guys. I don't know who I'm trying to impress at that point, right? But, like, that's performative. That's not going to change my dad's heart and mind. That's not going to get the information across. And what if I'm that worried about what my friends think of me and my racism, then I'm probably not doing shit right in my own life. You know what I mean? I'm probably carrying around some guilt that I haven't, like, fully opened my own heart or whatever. So that's just my viewpoint on it. Everybody's mileage may vary. Also, there's different levels of racism. My dad's is parrot shit. There's other parents who like raise their kids to be racist, and then their kids finally turn around and say, "Whoa, you are the malignant cancer in America," kind of shit. That's different. You know, I don't know. It's tough.
I do agree with you that like I don't think that all of these conversations need to happen on social media, but I think a lot of people are a little too. I mean, now you don't got to go East Texas on them, you know, from the start. Say something crazy and you like that, like what are you doing?
Or you ignore it. I do think there is some level of, I don't want to say duty or obligation, but like ignoring it is also, it needs to be addressed. You know what I mean? If you just let it slide all the time, particularly this, which says like, and I can just judge based on like the way it's phrased, but they say, where'd it go? Inflammatory and offensive racially based comments on social media, which means they're not just like, that's not just saying all lives matter because you're parroting a Tucker Carlson talking point. Like that phrasing says like you said some wild shit. And like when you say wild shit, that needs to be responded to. I do think there's some responsibility to be like not cool. And you can have the deeper conversation somewhere else. But like it's going to be hard for me to believe you when you say that like, oh, that you are an ally, you have these beliefs when you don't publicly stand up for them on some level. And it's hard to judge the difference between that and performative. But also like I get mad when people say, like, I feel like a lot of people, and this is not to you, Carina, because I know you, but there are a lot of people that use that term as an insult when someone just like says the right, like not the right thing, but like has a good opinion about something, you know what I mean? People, they'll go like, I don't think poor people should starve to death, and you just go, oh, look at this performative asshole over here. No, they're just like saying a good opinion. Like that's not performative.
That's fair. I think too, like, and that's all, those are all really, really good points. And I just want to throw another wrinkle into this that happens because it's parents, right? There was an element, you know, of, and I do agree with you. It has to be acknowledged, which is I did it in the lamest possible way by just saying, oh, dad, just saying, I'm disappointed in that opinion. I'm not going to talk about it with you on here, whatever. But I think part of what I was trying to do was not start a debate that would lead to a pylon, because I know 99% of my friends are going to disagree with my dad. 100%. And I'm trying not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to start that kind of shit on my wall when my own relationship with my dad's hard enough. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, 100. Absolutely. I also think there's a difference, and this is going to sound a little shitty, but if you have any sort of a public presence as performers or artists or whatever, you have a different relationship with social media than just a random person whose wall is predominantly just people they actually know.
Truth.
As opposed to, I have, you know, not to brag, I have, 5,000 Facebook friends. I don't know most of those people. Those are people that followed me for comedy reasons, and God bless them. But it's going to invoke a different reaction and different responses from people like that than if you have 600 Facebook friends that you went to high school with, or you work with, or from whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Let's go ahead and get back to something moderately funny. Dear Abby, when I stopped by my brother's house a couple of weeks ago, he mentioned that his 9-year-old son was grounded in his bedroom. He was being punished for snooping in his dad's vintage collection of porn. At first, I was upset. Now, by the way, I want to come back here and say real quick that this is the first time I've read a letter that I am not 100% sure was written in good faith. Like, I'm not convinced that this situation actually happened. However, we do need to treat it as such because that is how these letters work. So he's being punished for snooping in his dad's vintage collection of porn. At first, I was upset with my brother and his wife because it was their fault that the boy had access to it, and boys are naturally curious. But when I found out what his punishment was, I became enraged. Their quote-unquote brilliant idea was to make my nephew disgusted with porn by forcing him to look at the entire collection for 3 hours instead of playing outside. Maybe this is a tactic that works for cigarette smoking or chewing tobacco, but this seemed very wrong. I was so appalled I overstepped. I went straight to my nephew's room and told him he was allowed to go outside and play. Abby, what do you think? Am I being ridiculous? What should I have done? Signed, Appalled in Ohio. Could that have happened? Is that a thing that a human being makes as a punishment for your kid looking at porn?
In Ohio, maybe.
That could be some Ohio shit.
Sound like some real Ohio, sound Kentucky adjacent.
Yeah. What do they say on Orange and the New Black? Pennsyltucky.
Yeah,
Like Pennsylvania to Kentucky. Can we? I'm gonna scale it back. Obviously, this letter's a little weird. Should you punish your child for looking at porn? Is that the move?
No.
Sure, we don't have enough serial killers in the world. Why not? Throw one more on the Barbie.
Yeah. I feel like there is a way to teach your kid that they shouldn't be doing something yet without being like, oh, your dick makes you bad. You know what I mean? Like that shouldn't be the response that you instill in your child.
Porn is
It just seems
so incomprehensible to a 9-year-old. I you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
just unbelievably.
Also,
it's like it's like he was snooping through his dad's vintage collection of Foucault. You know, like he's not going to get anything out of that other than what a woman's body looks like naked. And yes, that's an education moment where you're like, well, let's talk about what's going on
what
here.
you saw.
What sex is.
Also, Carina, you're the only one of us who has kids, so that maybe your opinion should hold some more weight. But also, I would say vintage porn is different than if I'm assuming we're talking magazines, right?
Yeah.
It's not like the kid didn't lace up a 8mm film loop and get the projector screen out. You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming we're talking like Playboys and penthouses and shit, which is just naked people. Which is a thing that, like, of course you're going to be curious about and you should maybe have a conversation about. But, like, if you find your 9-year-old on the hub, you might need to, like, dissuade them from that behavior or teach them that that's not okay.
Yeah,
but totally. These people said, okay, look at these magazines you found yourself titillated by.
Let's go
ahead.
3 hours.
People can call CPS on us. Let's do this.
I feel like this might be the same parents from the first letter whose dad is smacking ass too much. I think we have similar families. That is a wild. You can't look. That is not, as someone who has some porn experience, some experience looking at your father's porn specifically. You can't give a kid unfettered porn access and think that's a punishment.
Yeah, it just don't make sense. It's like,
oh, you opened your Christmas present early. Now you get to play with it for 10 hours. That's not a punishment.
No. Nailed it. That is exactly.
Yeah. I don't. Again, we're talking white family, right? That's not a
vintage porn. Yeah. Also, well, vintage porn at this point in 2021 probably means Jenny McCarthy. You know what I mean? That's what's making me a little ill, is that it just means stuff I, snooped into when I was 9.
Yeah. Did you ever have that? I don't know if it's the same for women. Did you know the kid in like elementary school to junior high whose dad had porno magazines? And porno, we're talking Playboy, Penthouse, whatever. You just sort of naked, nudie mags. There was always the one kid in school whose dad had nudie mags and wasn't super careful about them, that you could go look at a boob every once in a while and he could sneak one out and get it back. It would be the Playboy would make its way around school for a couple days before it had to get back to him.
I had a friend whose family owns a series of car dealerships in Colorado. And his dad did not hide his sex doll well enough. That's what we stumbled on. A blow-up sex doll that was absconded from the closet, and then that went around the elementary school playgrounds. And none of us knew what the hell was going on. We just knew he had some sort of inflatable woman who was always going, oh. But we would dress that thing up and put her into all sorts of shenanigans that involved mostly like jumping into swimming pools and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, everybody has that like neighborhood hookup with the sex stuff worlds. But again, I agree with you that the punishment can't be have more of it. It's got to be education. It's not cigarettes.
Yeah.
The letter writer's perfectly right.
So they were just trying to gross him out. They're like, we wanted to gross him out with this, which is like the weirdest.
Yeah.
There's maybe one. I guess maybe there is the, and this is a stretch, but maybe there's the like what's the word I'm looking for here? Like reverse psychology of it, where like kids are gonna do whatever their parents don't want them to do. So if you go, oh sweet, you're into porn, check this one out, they're gonna be like, oh, it's not cool anymore. Is it that? Is it them trying to like trick their kid into not looking at porn?
I don't think that works with penis tingles, man. I think biology takes over. Yeah.
They don't work with penis tingles. That's absolutely true. My dad, oh boy. So my dad had a CD-ROM. This is how old I am. He had a CD-ROM that I don't know where he got it, that just had like random JPEGs on it, and like JPEGs and GIFs. That's as much porn as those. And I for sure stole it. Absolutely. And then one night I remember him coming to my room, and it was like, I don't know, he was coming home from work. He worked nights, so he was coming home late. And he opened the door and he just went, put the disc back, and then just walked out of the room. And I was like, that's it. Never looking at that disc again. I think that I was old enough to not want to associate our dicks. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like at 9, I don't know as I would have had that reaction. I would have just been like, oh no, I'm caught. But at like 14, 15 or whatever, I then now thought about him needing to jerk off the way I was jerking off. And then I was like, I can't look at this.
You're checking the same stuff out of the dick library.
Dick library. That's very funny. All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Carina, you got anything you want to plug?
Weird Brunch at weirdbrunch.com. Me and a couple of friends tell the strangest stories we can find. Check it out.
It's awesome. You should definitely do that. Maggie, what you got going on?
I have the Veil Yourself comedy show on Sunday the 28th. Also, there's a High Priestess comedy show on the 26th that is a Texas benefit for the fuckery going down in there.
Oh, so. That's awesome. Nice. Definitely check that out. I am at Chris Cubas on all social media. If you're in Austin, Texas, and you need a free meal, go to redbeansaustin.com. We do free red beans and rice every Sunday. We'll get it to your house. If you like the show, rate, review, subscribe on all these platforms. Go to Apple Podcasts. Give us a little review. It super helps. And we'll be back next week with more unsolicited advice.